Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the Code X podcast. As usual, I'm your host, Sonny Kruger, and joined by Tim Morse and the man who's finishing his meal, Dan Kelly.
It's an ice cream sandwich.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen.
I'm pretty sure we were talking about, first we talked about the unknown and that horrible Willy Wonka thing, and then we got talking about movies for quite a while, and then
Yeah.
pizza, and then it got Dan hungry to eat some ice cream. Dan, don't get me too excited because I love my ice cream, but I'm going to try to stay focused. And then, so today, we will
I
be
like
doing
that comment.
West Isn't
Let's
Chicago pizza. Just pizza turned out inside out. Nope, it's the greatest pizza in the world.
Wes is exactly correct. It's just flipped over. It's upside down.
It's the best, and people from other places they have no clue.
Big
You may have to
Marv,
avoid
Or
some
New York
bullets
style
to get it, but you know,
man disappears then reappears with ice cream sandwich. Absolutely.
it's a talent
I'm a
Dan has.
Renaissance man.
Oh my
The
god.
talent he has. But one thing Dan picked out today was Evil Ernie versus the superheroes, and that is the story we will be reviewing. Before that, we will be having a certain pink-haired man join the F list. One might say he causes quite a bit of ruckus. We'll be having a random panel of the week, and that is say, you know what? Nobody calls me old. You'll see why it was picked. But we shall start us off with the comic news with the rundown. It has been announced that X-Men 97 will premiere with 2 episodes. So, you
Ooh.
know, me, a huge X-Men fan, is happy about that. So we won't just get 1 episode, but 2 episodes. Also, there's been some updates with the Superman Legacy movie. Like, it's not going to be called Superman Legacy. It's just going to be called Superman. Also, there was a picture that showed the logo that should be, used in the movie. And so people got quite a bit of different views on it. Also, we heard about the Razzies. There's been some nominations in some
Lord.
movies. You know, as comic book fans, we'll stick to comic book stuff. Ant-Man, what do I say, Ant-Man 3 and Shazam 2 have been nominated for quite a few awards. Before I get into that, there's also a bit of a rumor mill, a bit of rumors going on that I'll tell you guys about. And the rumor is that Elizabeth Debicki is rumored to be playing Wonder Woman in the DCU. They're saying like James Gunn, there's a little bit of talks, right? So maybe James Gunn, he sometimes puts out there and says, hey, this is fake. So maybe in a few days he may say if it's a fake rumor or not. But there's talk saying that
He
Elizabeth
has not
Debicki-
debunked it yet.
he's not debunked it. So who
Oh.
knows? She was when she played Adam Warlock's mother in the Guardians of the Galaxy. So they
Okay.
have worked together.
I was gonna say I have to look her up because I recognize the name.
And she was also in the movie Tenet. And
Yeah, she's good.
Yeah, she's a very good actress, and I mean this is a compliment when I say she's quite an Amazon, standing at 6'3". So
She would
who
be
knows?
perfect.
We shall see in the future. But yeah, guys. So like I said, a lot of talk about Superman. Like I said, now it will be called Superman, not Superman Legacy. And then there was the logo. Like I said, Dan, I know you didn't like it. Tim, I know you said you were pretty good with it.
I'd like to hear Dan's opinion first, but before that happens, if you haven't seen it, ladies and gentlemen, let me go ahead and throw that picture up here. Now, James Gunn took that on his iPhone, so it's not the best quality, but we get a very good look at what the logo is supposed to be from there.
And
Dan,
it's
how do you
the
feel about
Come logo, but it's red and yellow instead of red and black.
it? Right.
I just the Superman logo is so iconic, and you look at the suit that Christopher Reeves wore in his movies, and yeah, you can't use that suit today. It's the spandex, whatever. For the time, it was perfect, and I get all that. But the logo was absolutely perfect in it. It recreated the comic. It was the right size. They came back and had Brandon Routh do the movie, and they had like the tiny little logo. They had the one with Henry Cavill, and it was just this weird kind of design. And while I thought both actors were great in the role, both of their suits were very lacking. And I'm just very disappointed, with all this stuff that we hear about, DC is going to do it right and this and that. And like the first image they release is that. Not that there's anything wrong with that logo itself, but this is the movie that's going to relaunch the DC movies, the shared universe. You're relaunching it with Superman, the most iconic comic book character there is.
Mm-hmm.
Why are you making these changes now? Give us the classic logo, give us the classic suit, make your changes that you want to make later. But if you're really all about, we're going to start this off right, don't start off with this. I want to see the classic Superman logo. And I don't think that there's any reason, to change it. And as far as changing the name from Superman Legacy to Superman, I mean, it makes sense because this is the first movie. There is no legacy yet. Superman Legacy should be like, the fourth or fifth movie in the series.
Right. Wes says the symbol is iconic, but also dated. Henry Cavill forever. And Big Marv agrees with you 100%.
I just think it's, it's just one of those things. It's iconic. It's classic. And one thing I did like is, I really like the Superman and Lois TV show too. And,
with Dean Cain. Or the one that is most recent. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, the one, it's called Superman and Lois, and the casting in it's perfect. That's actually, I think Rachel Brosnahan is going to be a fantastic Lois Lane. I'm not a fan of most of the live action Lois Lanes, really, except for Elizabeth Tulloch in the TV show.
Mm-hmm.
But I like when they, in the first season, where they had like a kind of a flashback episode, and it showed him when he first became Superman, and he had that kind of spandex suit, but he had that classic Fleischer Superman logo on there, and some kid says to him, "Wow, cool suit," and he goes, "Oh, thanks, my mom made it for me."
Wow, that's awesome.
So I hope at some point in this, if they're going to go with this as the logo, that they have something like that where they have a flashback and show him with the classic logo at least, because
that one right there.
Yeah, exactly. Like, it's iconic. And if you're restarting this, restart it right.
So here's my opinion on this. Let me bring that logo up one more time, ladies and gentlemen, so you guys can take a look at that. I like that. I think it is I know it's more along the lines of the Kingdom Come logo. I get that. I like the colors. If they're muted like that, I'm okay with that. That doesn't bother me too much. But the yellow is in there. That's important to me. There's the blue. There's the entire crest. All of that stuff. I think it looks good. As far as the traditional logo goes, right there, I think I agree with everybody that it is iconic. I don't think it's dated per se, but I am okay with that type of alteration to the logo so long as it stays as true to form as it can. I'm giving James Gunn a wide berth with his relaunching of the DC universe, just so that way I can go in with next to no expectations and try and be as fresh as possible and just see what's going on. I know he's debunked a lot of things, and that has really hurt the rumor mill for a lot of people, and I'm cool with that because he's targeting that stuff specifically and directly, and people are throwing things out there that are like, this is going to happen, this is going to happen, Aquaman's going to show up, and he's like, nah, none of that's true.
This kid's through the cast as Batman. He's like, we haven't even written a script. There's no Batman yet.
Yeah, exactly. And you got all these scoopers that are saying things, and I love the fact that he is shooting them down left and right.
They want that clickbait,
Yeah, Keith's
He
got a comment here.
said, if it doesn't come from me, it's not true.
Yeah, Keith says, I'd imagine they're using that logo to lead up to Kingdom Come being the third or fourth movie. Now, that is an interesting idea. Or here's another thought that it could possibly be, is they're using that logo as kind of the basis, the foundation that will eventually lead into the classic logo. Who knows? None of us do. So we'll find it all out as these movies come out. But either way, I don't hate it. I enjoy it. I think it looks cool, and I can't wait to see it.
Yeah, for me, it's not my favorite one, but it's I'm not like really gonna complain much about it. So it's kind of.
Don't get me wrong. I don't dislike the logo. I just think it's a mistake to. Yes, exactly. TJ.
Right here, I got it right here.
TJ, there you go. There's your first Codex point of the day.
I don't dislike the logo itself. I
You just
just
hate
think
it, not dislike it.
I just think for this being the starting point for for your whole new DC universe, start with the classic, get it right. You want to change the logo for the second movie.
You think it's a
do that.
stumble, not a step forward.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I'll be honest, I like James Gunn. I like the Guardians movies. I like the other stuff that he did. He wrote this, like the first movie he wrote was this really funny one called The Specials that
I love that movie. That movie is so good.
But that, like, Slither and Brightburn and all these other movies that he's written, directed, or produced, like, I like all of them. With that said, I don't have a lot of faith in him.
The Crimson Bolt.
Right. I don't have a lot of faith in this. I hope that I'm wrong, but based on the tone of all these other movies, which again, I like all these other movies, but based on the tone of them, I just don't feel like it's something that would be the right tone for Superman. So I could be wrong. We'll see.
Next year.
Yeah, I mean, I'm withholding judgment until we see scenes or see the movie.
Yeah, the trailer. The trailer is gonna be live or die for that.
Like I said,
that'll be good.
I hope I'm wrong. I'm craving a good Superman movie, and like I said, most of the cast I think that they got right. Even though it seems like it might be a little bit overblown, but
we haven't had a good Superman movie since The Quest for Peace, and
oh,
we need another nuclear man. Come on.
Okay, so Dan, you basically despise James Gunn and think he should win a Razzie. Okay.
If you want to see a really cool interview, there is not to tell people to go watch something else. But Michael Rosenbaum has his
podcast
Inside of Me. He had James Gunn on it a while ago. It was like an hour long. It was really good. And James Gunn told him, because they're friends too, but James Gunn told him, like, you're the best Lex Luthor. And Michael Rosenbaum was like, whatever. He's like, no, you know that you're the best Lex Luthor so far. And Rosenbaum goes, but you're not going to cast me in your Superman movie. He goes, no, I'm not.
No. Better than Gene Hackman? Gene Hackman was amazing.
I didn't like Gene Hackman as Lex Luthor.
Otisburg?
He didn't play Lex Luthor. That wasn't the Lex Luthor from the comics. That was, it was, I mean, Superman's iconic movie, but that's,
that was Gene Hackman. Lex Luthor playing Gene Hackman.
Yeah, it was a little bit goofy.
Greatest criminal.
Michael Rosenbaum was still my favorite one. I knew as a Smallville guy, he was still my favorite one.
That's fair.
From the little bit I saw of him, I thought John Cryer actually made a decent Lex Luthor. And Kevin Spacey too, though it turns out in real life he's a little more like Lex Luthor.
That aside,
he's a little worse than Lex Luthor, possibly.
Lex Luthor was really good. Keith says also Superman's been on TV essentially unbroken for the past 35 years. That's true. Yeah, that's absolutely true.
Between live action and animation, there hasn't been a lot of time when he hasn't been on there.
Yep.
So we're talking about good and bad. So with the Razzies, we got quite a bit to say about that. And
I've got the list.
Comments, and one thing definitely how dare they nominate Michael Douglas for worst supporting actor.
I thought he was good in Ant-Man. I love that line when he's walking through. He's like, that guy looks like a fucking broccoli.
Hang it. There it is. There's the F-bomb.
I don't think Michael Douglas said that F-word in there.
All right, you
got that line wrong.
Let me give you guys
came in Guardians.
Let me give you the rundown here of the categories. So everybody knows what the Razzies are, right? If you don't, instead of it being the Oscars for the greatest and the best, this is for the worst of the worst. Worst picture, they have The Exorcist, Believer, Expendables 4, where the number 4 is in the title, Meg 2, The Trench, Shazam, Fury of the Gods, Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey. I love the name of that, though. Worst actor, Russell Crowe for The Pope's Exorcist, Vin Diesel for Fast X. That's just deserved. Chris Evans for Ghosted, Jason Statham for Meg 2, The Trench, and John Voight for Mercy. Worst actress is Anna de Armas for Ghosted, Megan Fox for Johnny and Clyde, Salma Hayek for Magic Mike's Last Dance, Jennifer Lopez for The Mother, and Dame Helen Mirren for Shazam, Fury of the Gods. That is earned too.
She's a Dame now.
So terrible.
Worst supporting actress, Kim Cattrall, About My Father, Megan Fox for The Expendables 4, where the number 4 is in the logo, Bai Ling for Johnny and Clyde, Lucy Liu for Shazam, Fury of the Gods, also earned, Mary Stuart Masterson for Five Nights at Freddy's. Yeah, that's earned too, but that was that was a fun time at the theater with the kids, but still, the movie was shit.
What
Worst,
movie?
Five Nights at Freddy's.
My niece loved it.
So did my kids. I was sat there through the whole thing, and I was like, "What the hell is going on? What's happening right now? This is so confusing." It makes sense to them.
I've never played the game, so I don't know.
This movie wasn't made for me.
Yeah.
But here is where we all start to have issues. Worst supporting actor. Michael Douglas for Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. We'll get to that in a second. Mel Gibson in Confidential Informant. Bill Murray for Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. Franco Nero as the Pope in The Pope's Exorcist. And the mighty Sylvester Stallone for Expendables 4, where the number is in the title. Worst...
I'm in Expendables. I don't know why that movie.
Worst screen couple, any two merciless mercenaries from the Expendables, any two money-grubbing investors who donated to the $400 million for remake rights to The Exorcist, Anna de Armas and Chris Evans, who flunked screen chemistry for Ghosted, Salma Hayek and Channing Tatum in Magic Mike's Last Dance. Yeah, that's one I'm not going to see anyways. This one shouldn't even be on the list. Pooh and Piglet as bloodthirsty slasher / killers in Winnie and the Pooh.
Maybe they're lovers in
Honey. They could be. Pooh, I don't
haven't
feel
seen
too
it.
good today. Worst prequel, remake, ripoff, or sequel. Again, this is wrong. Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quantumania, The Exorcist, Expendables, Indiana Jones and the Dial of Still Beating a Dead Horse, in Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey. And then you got director Rise Frake Waterfield for Winnie the Pooh, David Gordon Green for The Exorcist, Peyton Reed for Ant-Man and the Wasp, which we disagree with, Scott Woe for Expendables, and Ben Wheatley for Meg 2. Worst screenplay, The Exorcist, Expendables, yet again. I think they're going to sweep everything, come in with a big broom. Indiana Jones and the Dial of Can I Go Home Now, and Shazam! Fury of the Gods, and Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey. All right,
I mean,
I
clearly
think Winnie
they
the Pooh is going to
focused
win
on
it.
like a handful of movies for every category.
Yeah, it's basically the same ones. I
So-
don't think Ant-Man and the Wasp should be on there. I did enjoy it. I think we were talking earlier. We enjoyed it. You guys did a very good review of it, and yeah, for me, I thought it was a great movie.
we had a good
Not
time.
the
Yeah,
best, but I thought it was a good, fun movie. A lot of action.
yeah.
I liked it. I enjoyed it. So I
It
would
had
not
its
put it on
flaws,
there.
but it was an above average,
Right.
entertaining movie. There were definitely some flaws you could pick out in it, and the more I thought about it over time, the more I kind of nitpicked at it. But sitting there in the theater, it was an entertaining movie.
Yeah, but I
Yeah.
was entertained by it.
Yeah,
so.
I had a good time with Quantumania. I don't think it deserves the amount of hatred that it gets sometimes. It's not the director's fault mostly. Michael Douglas and Bill Murray definitely shouldn't be on that list. They were some of the best parts of the movie. That is a prime example of studio interference on the Marvel end, and that is what we got. And when you underpay your VFX artists and you underpay your writers, hence the strike and all that stuff, that's the type of movie you get. And you earn that. Give the Razzie to the producers, not to Bill Murray, not to Michael Douglas.
And see, I said I remember I said when we did the review, I thought Bill Murray, I thought it was kind of a waste to have him in there because he shows up, he says a couple of lines, and he goes away, and that's it. Like it's a waste of Bill Murray. I mean,
exactly.
Bill Murray is a comedic genius, and you just kind of had him show up so you could say Bill Murray was there, but if you're not going to have him really do Bill Murray stuff, and you're only going to have him on screen for like 2 minutes,
yeah, didn't he get eaten by something too? Like one of
something
those
like
things?
that, or he got eaten, or his ship got eaten. I don't remember, but
yeah,
Michael Douglas. I thought Michael Douglas was fine. Like I said, when he walked by, like that guy looks like broccoli, or when he has the line in the end, he's like, "I like ants." Like, I thought he was fine, and I thought it was an entertaining movie. Yeah. Shazam, though, that deserves all the hate it gets. That movie was terrible.
I haven't seen it. I like the first one, but I haven't.
We're going to disregard all. We're going to disregard all canon or all history in the comic books for Shazam. We're going to make our own movie with our own villains and just kind of go our own way. You guys are going to love it. No, we're going to hate it.
Oh yeah,
ignore it.
remember that scene at the end of the first Shazam where we teased that we were going to bring back Savannah?
Yeah.
He's Mr. Mind. Yeah, we're not going to do that at all. We're going to do this other thing.
We just don't care.
Yeah,
we don't care how you feel.
God, it was so bad.
But Indiana Jones, Dan, you've got some things to say about that.
I love Indiana Jones. Like, Indiana Jones is a big part of my childhood. I grew up loving it. You know, the movies. I even watched the TV show.
Mm-hmm.
I dressed up as Indiana Jones. When Kingdom of the Crystal Skull came out, like, we hadn't seen trailers or anything yet. There was just the poster. You could ask my wife, who was my girlfriend at the time. We'd go to the movies, and every time I walked past and saw the poster, I'd go, dun, 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 dun. I was so excited, and that movie came out, and it's like it just stabbed me in the heart.
Oh.
And then this one came out, and I went and saw it in the theaters, and I really liked it. You know, it's not a perfect movie. It definitely had its flaws.
Mm-hmm.
There were some things I would have liked to have seen in it that they could have easily done. Did
Shia LaBeouf come back?
No, and it explains why in the movie.
Because he's being a hard ass on his motorcycle and throwing a temper tantrum.
I don't want to tell you why.
He's fighting with his sister Ren Stevens.
There you
I
go.
don't want to tell you why he's not in it because it'll be a big spoiler for something that is a major,
That's
that is
fair.
a major plot point in the movie. But the reason
The
why
ball crushed him.
it's dealt with, and it's not them trying to make Indiana Jones, still an action hero like he was in his 20s.
He's a 70-year-old guy.
Yes, and he acts like a 70-year-old guy. And yeah, he does some action stuff that a 70-year-old probably wouldn't do, but still, he's very much acts like a 70-year-old. He's late in his life. He's lamenting mistakes that he made with his family, with other things. I thought it was a good movie. The title of it was terrible. I said that when they announced a Dial of Destiny. I was like, that's a dumb title. And there were some things that I didn't like about it, but overall, I'd say probably like a 7.5 or 8 out of 10 for it. I definitely enjoyed it, and it didn't do good at the box office, but I mean, there wasn't anything doing that good at the box office. I don't know why. I thought it was, like I said, I thought it was a good movie.
Like I said, art is subjective,
Yeah. Do you think it deserves the Razzie category, though?
No.
No.
If you like Indiana Jones,
I love Indiana Jones.
If you love Indiana Jones and you watch this movie, I think that you'll enjoy it.
Nice.
My buddy is a big Indiana Jones fan too. Had the exact same opinions I did about Crystal Skull. Had the same opinions I did about this movie too. We were texting like, "Oh man, that was really good." He's like, "Yeah, man, I loved it." Like, so
yeah,
at least 2 Indiana Jones fans that really enjoyed it.
Right. Oh, hey, Greg of Lithograph Comics is here in the chat with us too. Hey, Greg, how's it going? He also liked Indy 5 much more than he expected to. Pretty surprised by it, honestly. Also, what's up, guys?
Yeah, it's a terrible title. I'll admit that. They should have come up with a better title, but it was a good movie.
TJ has a good question here, Dan. Hopefully you can answer that if it's not a spoiler. Did he yell "get off my lawn" at any point in the movie?
He did not. I don't think he
did. Give it the Razzie. Give it the Razzie.
Sonny, I'm with you on that. 2 out of 3 stars.
In the movie, he doesn't live in a house. He has an apartment.
Oh.
Get off the apartment lawn.
Get out of my hallway.
There is a scene though where the people in an apartment, it's either below him or beside him, are playing their music too loud, and he goes and bangs on the door and tells them to turn it down.
It's 8 p.m.
There you
Some
go.
of us are trying to sleep.
I'll agree with Big Marv. Green Lantern does get the short end. They could do a cool movie.
Around, though.
Hopefully, when there's the new one.
Well, they're going to be doing the TV show, so.
Yeah, and Guy Gardner's gonna be in the new Superman movie. We're gonna see him there.
He's gonna, so we'll have at least
Give him the bowl haircut
because Gardner's
hope
going to
so.
be in that, and then Hal and John are going to be in the TV show.
Yeah, exactly.
Cool.
All right. And Sonny, the last thing, I know you want to talk about that.
Oh, the X-Men stuff. I
Yeah.
thought I pretty much covered when I was going over. I'm very excited that it's X-Men 97. We'll have 2 episodes instead of 1, March 20th. So it's the countdown is on. Oh yeah, 2 weeks. 2 weeks
Yeah.
from today. So I'm going through all the episodes. I got the last 2 seasons left to watch. So
And they released the titles
That's
of
nice.
all the episodes too, right?
Yep. Yeah, a few, maybe like a month ago or something. I had gone over the all 10 episode names, trying to remember them off the top of my head. But the first one is, to me, my X-Men.
It looks interesting. I'm excited for it. This
Me
is
too.
taking me right back to my childhood. I watched X-Men after school and on Saturdays. I love the show. It was one of the only things at that time that was so close to the comic book storylines that they could fit in 30 minutes. But it was awesome seeing Cable on screen, seeing Bishop show up, who is now going to be have a larger part in this season. Just everything.
Yeah, I like the Bishop.
Apocalypse and Rogue on screen together. Can't wait.
I hope to see more Colossus and Nightcrawler because they weren't regular. They weren't members in the show. So they're 2 of my favorites. I'd like to see them show up a bit more.
Greg says he and his wife just finished the original series. They'll be on watching the 97 season for sure and hoping for the best.
Same here. I'm gonna be very disappointed. I might miss the episode if I'm not too happy about it. You know me. You know I'm pretty stubborn, so it takes a lot for me to miss. But
yeah,
so I'm excited.
And I like that they, for Morph that they gave him, well, not the whole costume, but at least the face.
From the Exiles, right?
Like the Exiles one.
Yeah,
So
that
it
was
should be
cool.
interesting.
So I don't know. It would be cool. I posted a question or something on Comic Character of the Day page on Facebook a week or so ago about something about what what characters would you like to see in X-Men 90s, in the X-Men 97 animated series that were introduced in the comics after the original animated series went off the air, because there's a ton of characters that have been in the comics introduced since then. And someone made a good point about the Exiles. I was like, that would be awesome if they had the Exiles show up in an episode of it and like had to do something to stop, to stop something from from happening that would ruin the time stream.
Now, I picked up a Magneto figure for the X-Men 97 line, and the sculpting on that is really, really good. The plastic is better than some of the other figures that I've gotten from Hasbro's Marvel lines in the past. This almost reminds me of the early Marvel Legends stuff with the thicker plastic, little bit stiffer posability, but once the joints get moving, it's really nice, and they look great too. So
you still got his cape on, no missing.
Yeah, give me 2 seconds
anything.
and I'll go get it and show you. Hang on.
Yeah, he's not like you, Sonny. He hasn't destroyed all of his action figures.
No. But in a few years though, mine they're pretty old, so
well, yeah, and they definitely show their age when it looks like you were beating them with bowling balls. You, like I said, you are with your toys. You are Sid from Toy Story.
Yeah. All right.
Nice.
So
they just a little bit of movies, got a little excited.
Look at that guy.
That does look nice.
Does he not look amazing?
I've
stand's a little wobbly, but
I've seen the figure in the stores. It looks cool.
Oh, dude, this is the only newish Marvel figure that I didn't buy at an outlet store, and I think this one is worth the $24. I think the $24 price point is very high for figures, but this one, I think they got it right.
But he doesn't even wear that suit the whole time in the new series, right? Like, wasn't when they first put the character designs out for the new series, he's in the purple suit with the big M?
Like the one like around like issue 200 around there. Yeah, when they took over the team.
But with this, the head sculpt is cool. The helmet does not remove though. But look at all that. That just looks majestic.
Just do what I did as a kid. Sometimes I'd purposely remove it. And then glue it back on if you don't like it.
The Apocalypse figure.
Yeah, that's what
Nice.
Sonny would do with his figures. That's why he would take the helmet off, and it looks like
Destroy him.
when Darth Vader took his helmet off at the end of Jedi.
Yeah, and then I'm like, Mom, glue it back on. Glue it back on.
Oh my god, I got you, Sonny. Don't worry about it.
The
But
things
yeah,
to
there
do
you
with
go.
kids growing
No,
up,
no, where's the glue? They're like, oh God, Sonny, what did you do now?
Comcast
His arm
is
just
missing
came
a
off.
card.
His arm just came off,
Oh my god.
I'm not
Yeah.
buying you any more action figures if this is what you're gonna do to them.
I was very careful with my toys, but every now and then somebody may lose an arm or a finger or a tail.
Oopsies.
I was like very
And
careful
it's
with
the
my
middle
fingers.
finger they lost too.
Yeah, I was very careful with my fingers until I backed over them with the car. Snap, crackle, pop.
Oh my god.
If you guys want to see some of my figures, most of them in great condition, some of them a little teeny bit damaged. Check out the From the Vault action figures.
Oh, it's the best 2 hours and 30 minutes you're ever going to spend on YouTube.
The only figures that were in decent condition were the ones that Sonny didn't know the names of them. So it's like that's the only thing that saved them. If Sonny didn't know their name, then it wasn't worth destroying.
Sonny brought out all the figures. Like I read the memo, right? And it was like, we're gonna do the action figures episode from the vault. I was like, cool, I'll get my best. And I got a few and I showed those off, and Sonny's like, yeah, Tim, that's great and all, but I've got all of these
Got a
and I'm gonna
bucket.
give everything to you. Ladies and gentlemen, when I say everything, I mean from Disney's Pixar, take your pick, mostly Toy Story, all the way up to McDonald's Backstreet Boys figures. It is a wild ride, but it is going to be the best action figure ride you ever go on. Please watch that episode.
He's like, yeah, I got this guy. I don't know who he is or what line he came from, but I got him, and he does this, and oh shit, his foot come off, but whatever. I don't know what happened to him, but I got the rest of them. And yeah, it's
Gary and I are giving him the names of the characters. I haven't known the name of this character for the past 20 years. Oh, it's that guy.
The good Jester, where I didn't know.
Huh.
Gary knew Jester, yeah.
Yeah.
the Chapel. One of them was Chapel.
Yeah, Chapel, yeah.
TJ has a great comment. He says, I bet Sonny's seen what the inside of Stretch Armstrong looks like.
Stretch Armstrong always avoided me as a kid, so he's still avoiding me to this day. But the day I may catch him one day, and
Oh
my
my
brother-in-law knows because they got him a Stretch. They told me they got him a Stretch Armstrong when he was a little kid, and he wanted to know what was inside, so he cut it open with a knife, and it was like all the goo and stuff that was inside. And my wife, she was telling me the story that she got home and it was like in the garage, and she's like, oh, your dad's gonna be pissed, you're in trouble, because it was like all over the floor of the garage.
Oh man.
He was like, well, I wanted to see what was inside, and eventually, he's the youngest, so he got another Stretch Armstrong.
Wow. Don't
We're
worry.
like, don't cut this one open.
Oh my god.
good times. But that was some of the stuff that we had coming out. But we basically already jumped into our works. But yeah, we do got quite a few things coming up. And speaking of toys and things like that, I was at a Comic-Con this past weekend. I was at Mighty Con in DuPage in Illinois, and I will be working on a video to put that out there on the spot. Me on the spot again, another con. So I had a good time. I even got some comics right next to me, but you'll check it all out. Yes, Tim, we'll get to that. But before we get into our sponsor, and I was talking about MightyCon, I can announce that I, Sonny Kruger from the Code X station, will be at C2E2 again this year. And this year, I'm thinking about going multiple days. I'll keep you updated. I'll let you know when I get those tickets. But this time, I'm going to go multiple days. Gonna have some fun. And I'll be behaved.
You gotta get some stuff while you're there.
I'll try not to get too much. I'm trying not to get too much, but I did get some things, and we're gonna have a good time. Now I'll have a lot more time there. Last time I got there, I only had a couple hours.
Yeah.
Well, you
Time will be
gotta
different.
go there with some money so you can get some more victims. I mean, action figures.
How much is
You think
that?
that, like, if like the movie Toy Story was real, where like the figures come to life when when you're not in the room, and then as soon as you walk in the room, if they're like, oh God, he's coming. And then like Sonny walks in the door and they're like, not me, not me.
Wear your Punisher shirt to C2E2, Sonny, so when you do buy action figures, we can see it in the
Oh, I
flesh.
mean, the Sinister
You know
may
what?
have to go there.
Like, you guys kind of tease me like when I'm looking at books and I find one, I'm like, oh, I do like the, oh, you're coming home with me. Sonny
Yeah.
goes through the action figure bins and it's more sinister. It's like, you're coming home.
Well, guys, Ed Mighty kind of took some videos like that. I won't tell you everything, but yeah, I got some videos with action figures with comics. So yeah, I'll give you
Oh,
update more
Lord.
when that comes out. But yes, like I said, Mighty Con coming out, and then C2E2. I'll be at next month, and then you guys. I know Wes was at a con. Tim, were you there too, right?
Yeah, Wes and
Recently?
I were
Okay.
at a convention together. It was called Smoky Mountain Collectible Showcase, and it was a lot of fun. I still got the books that I got in the trade right here if you want to see them. But we had decided that we were going to dip our toes in the convention water, see how it goes, see what happened. We would have been happy just breaking even. And if it was a bust, it was a bust. But the whole point of going was just to get the experience, right? To just see how it all functioned, see how it all worked. And I think it's safe to say that we had a great time. The con exceeded expectations for us on all levels. Financially, we did very, very well, way better than we thought we were going to.
Nice.
But yeah, that's kind of on the lower end. Like the other vendors at the con were all really nice. Everybody was really cool. I know it's not going to be like that everywhere, but at least at this one, it's a 1-day con. It was 9 to 5. We ended up leaving an hour early because just nobody was there, and we packed up and got out of there. But the vendors were really cool. The customers that came through were mostly nice. We ended up pulling 19 subscribers for Codex that day, which was also a pretty big milestone for us. We weren't expecting to pull that many, not because we couldn't, but just because we didn't know. My niece Priscilla, big shout out to her. She came in clutch and worked her ass off. And she handled all the cash for us, did an extremely good job, kept us on our toes. And she was great with customers, bagged everything and all that stuff. All in all, it was a great experience.
Tim's got the child labor going on.
Yeah, well, she got paid for it, so she was very happy with that. But I'll show you the books that I got in the trade. So if you watched After Dark, here, let me do this. Bam. Hey, ladies and gentlemen, how you doing? It's good to see you.
How you doing?
You got my cup of coffee? Just milk, splash of milk, no sugar. I'll see you in a minute.
What you got?
I got the stuff, got the goods. Let me show you. So I did a trade. If you watched After Dark Comics Unleashed this past Saturday, I talked about it. And long story short, traded a Futurama #1 direct CGC graded 9.8 for these 5 books. And I will show them to you right now. So Amazing Spider-Man #1. This is the Wizard Ace edition.
All right.
Not too bad. Not too bad at all. And Dan, you
Chameleon
called this
strikes.
out. Yeah, you called this out on Comics Unleashed. This is early Humberto Ramos.
Yeah. Because I remember when was. I mean, first I remember
Yeah.
Wizard, but yeah, I remember when they used to do all that stuff, the half issues and the
Oh, yeah.
editions and all. I got a bunch of the half issues. In
I
fact,
got a few.
I got one of them where I got the half issue for Gen 13, but it's in this like folio that they sent it in.
Oh, wow.
I'll have to pull it out and show it to you guys sometime.
Sure. Another Wizard Ace edition. This is the Amazing Spider-Man #129.
Yep, some more Ramos there.
Sonny, you got your favorite guy right there.
There you go.
Yeah.
That's the Punisher. Yeah, like that.
Now,
experience.
this is the first of the big one. We'll call these the big 3. This is the first. So this is Brave and the Bold #75. This is from 1967. Batman and the Spectre.
Nice.
Very early Silver Age Spectre, still using the same letterhead. which I'll show you in just a second. If you know, you know. But another key fact about this is that this is the first time Neil Adams did full Batman artwork.
I think that was the first Spectre in the Silver Age, like outside of
Showcase.
Justice Society, right?
This is one of them, one of the early appearances.
Oh.
Now, this here is the first Silver Age appearance of the Spectre. So you had Silver Age appearance of the Flash and Green Lantern, etc., etc. Right there, ladies and gentlemen.
Nice.
First Silver Age Spectre, and I could not
That's an
pass
awesome
it up.
cover, yeah. Awesome.
Oh, so gorgeous, and it's clean. The Mylar bag makes it look a little bit better than it is, but not by much. Like it's got some staple damage down here that you can kind of see. But like Gary said, if you walk away and you feel less than good about your purchase and you're like, damn, I should have never done that. I have not felt that way since I walked away with this book. I'm still beaming about owning this book. This is a huge grail for me to own. TJ, absolutely. You saw him live on Saturday. Yeah, wonderful trade, beautiful books. Yeah, but this has been a big book for me to get. One that I've wanted for quite a long time. Seeing Lunch Money Comics show his Silver Age Spectre, I wanted to get that, and Gary reigniting the love of the Spectre into me again, which was amazing because Spectre was one of the first characters I ever read. But this is the big one.
Well, that Spectre one too. That's one like you don't even have to necessarily be a big fan of the character for that to just be a cool book. Like
big book.
Just a significant book.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. But this is the big one. And Dan, you've got a copy of it as well. This is New Teen Titans.
Oh, yeah.
Number 2, first appearance of Deathstroke the Terminator. Right there.
Awesome.
And this book is nice. Looking at it a little closer, it does have some rust on the staple down here, but not too bad. That cover looks nice. Absolutely. For the Spectre one and for this one, Big Marv. Absolutely. But yeah, this was a big deal. I know how huge this book is. Everybody knows how huge this book is. And it's a newsstand on top of that too, which doesn't matter at this point in time for comic books. But the condition that it's in does. And it's once it's pressed and cleaned, I think it's got a very great opportunity to see 9496. Lithograph. Yeah, Greg, right there. He has a first Deathstroke also. Actually got it signed by Wolfman, and it looks awesome in the yellow label. Fantastic.
I don't have the yellow label, but I've got the...
You got something just as cool, though.
Yeah, I've got the Perez one.
Yeah.
I had a stack of Perez books when he was going to do that final signing for CGC, which, you know, unfortunately he was not able to do. And I mean, I had a lot of stuff to send, and I was like, I can't afford to do them all because I had, you know, I've got the first 60 or 70 issues of Teen Titans. I was like, I got them. I've got the, you know, the Marvel team up where he did the cover with Spider-Man and Captain Britain.
Yeah.
I mean, think of the work. He did the cover. John Byrne did the interiors. You know, Infinity Gauntlet, all this other stuff. But I ultimately decided to send away this one and this one.
Those are iconic.
Through this contract, yeah.
And you know, I sent them away. They ended up canceling the signing, and you know, because of his health. But they said, you know, you could still, you know, if I wanted to get them graded, you know, it would be like $5 cheaper. And I said, well, you know, if I get it with the label, does it still go to his family? And they said, yes. I'm like, all right, we'll grade him and, you know, give me the Perez label, which I'm not sure. I don't know if they still have that label or not. But if they do, you should definitely get it graded with the Perez label.
Lithograph says he sent his in for Perez also and took the Wolfman signature as a consolation after Perez passed. He decided against the Perez label, however.
See, you know, I'm not a big fan of the
custom labels.
The custom labels,
yeah.
You know, because I think that usually they do the picture too big and there's so many colors that it just looks weird, like in the label. But the fact that this one is just black and white, it's not too big, and it's, you know, and it's Perez drawing a picture of
Of
himself.
himself, yeah.
Yeah, it's his self-portrait. I was just like, that's so cool.
If
The
they
more,
retire that label, I would be okay with that.
yeah, I would too. But that's what I'm saying. If they haven't retired it, you should definitely, if you get it graded, you should definitely get that label on there.
Wes agrees. He doesn't like the custom labels either.
This is the only one I've seen that I actually like, that I don't think sticks out too much from the.
Yeah.
I think it actually fits in perfectly with the label.
But yeah, Sonny, Dan, overall, the convention was a great success. Had a great time. Did the show afterwards. Stayed up way too late. Yeah.
How did you have the energy to do that, Tim?
Oh, well, that is with Dubby Energy. Let me go ahead and bring that information up. We got 2 sponsors for you, ladies and gentlemen. As always, we have Dubby Energy. Head over to dubby.gg as soon as it shows up down below. I know it is there, and it's not going to do it.
It
Fine.
goes for me. So there you go. Yeah, w.gg, save 10% on your order using keyword code -X at checkout.
There you go, ladies and gentlemen. And also, let's go ahead and talk about our sponsor for the month of March and for the month of April. You know them all too well. Uncle Gary, Comic Logic, they're our sponsor today on the podcast, and they are super awesome and super amazing. Loudoun County, Virginia's only comic shop, ladies and gentlemen. And they got some awesome events coming up too. So on the April 20th, they have their 9th anniversary. Am I frozen? I am frozen.
Not for me.
Unfrozen now. So there we go. See, now it's showing up. Let's get rid of that. Ladies and gentlemen, let me start over. Comic Logic is our sponsor this week right here on the podcast. Loudoun County, Virginia's only comic shop. You know them from Uncle Gary. He talks about them all the time. He is one of the proud co-owners of Comic Logic. They got a couple events coming up. Their 9th anniversary on Saturday, April 20th. Going to be awesome. Uncle Gary, no doubt, will be there. So if you are in the area, Loudoun County, Virginia, head over there. Say hello to all the guys at Comic Logic. They will be more than happy to see you. They also have Free Comic Book Day with the Mandalorian's very own Brendan Wayne doing a signing on Saturday, May the 4th. Not only is that Free Comic Book Day, but it is also Star Wars Day. May the 4th be with you. And they have Springlock Con on May 19th also. So once again, ladies and gentlemen, Comic Logic, head over there, Loudoun County, Virginia. You'll have a great time. Say hello to Uncle Gary for us.
Yeah, the one and only Uncle Gary. So
One
come
and
on, go
only.
check it out. Have such a great time. Checking out
I
Comic
did.
Logic.
I did check, and the George Perez custom label is retired.
Good.
But there actually is one. There's a Free Comic Book Day custom label. So if you want to get your comics that you get on Free Comic Book Day graded, you can get that label on there.
There you go.
I guess if you want to spend the extra money to get a foil one, because they have them where you get the foil covers and the sketch covers for them now.
Yeah.
Well, maybe we'll get some for our birthdays. We've got our birthdays coming up. We're all going to be aging a bit. So that brings us to a random panel of the week.
Oh, yeah. Let me go ahead and bring that up.
You could say this anytime if anybody wants to talk about age and getting older. There we go. We got one man, he's got a beard, and he grabs the other man by the genitals and says, "Did you just call me old? Nobody calls me old." And he throws the man out the window. Like I said, yeah, he grabs that man from the genitals and throws him out the window.
Got a whole handful there, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, I don't know what comic this is from. I don't know if any of you know. I was trying to find it, and I was like, comic book where guy grabs guy by genitals and throws him out of a window. And I did not come up with this. Yeah.
I'm going to guess it's either an Image title or Punisher or Wolverine.
I was guessing Image. I was guessing Image. That's what I was going to guess. And Big Mar says that's epic. I agree.
Oh, my Lord.
I will.
Dan's looking it up now.
Yeah, I'll try and find where it is.
Be careful.
Doing
Be
this.
careful.
The due diligence.
You know why when Google they recommend stuff. The algorithm recommends what you've been looking up.
Yeah.
Dan, you're gonna get some interesting recommendations for you soon.
Oh, wow.
Acting like a guy grabs guy between his legs.
I mean, I'm looking on Instagram for where I found it to see if it says you're going to be the one that's going to be getting some interesting ads coming your way on Facebook soon.
Oh yeah. Wait, why does it want me to join this kind of site? That's not how I roll. Yeah, but yeah, Dan, you were the one who originally posted it on comic character of the day. Is your hey, on comic character of the day, you can see random panel of the day. Dan is always posting that, and when I saw this one, I was like, oh yeah, we need to add this to the show for the random panel of the week. I was like, this is too good to pass by. So I used to remember anybody. Somebody talks about your age, you can think back to this image of this guy from this random comic that we're not too sure of yet. He grabs the other guy.
We'll find it
by his
I'm looking
privates
to see if I
and
can
throws him
find
out of a window.
by his testicular fortitude.
Yeah.
Remember the Duke Nukem game? I've got balls of steel.
Oh yeah. Duke Nukem. Good. There needs to be more Duke Nukem. We haven't seen Duke Nukem in a long time.
Who would you pick to play Duke Nukem in live action?
Not John Cena. I know a lot of people are saying him, but I don't care for him. He's like a Peacemaker. He should stick with Peacemaker. But who would I want to be actual Duke Nukem? I'm not too sure. Right now, I'm not too sure.
Visual wise, if Duke Nukem were made in the 80s, Dolph Lundgren.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah.
But have somebody do voiceover work for him.
I think Batista could do a good Duke Nukem. He seems to be able to handle like the comedy and the action stuff together pretty well.
The guy getting that blonde, he's got to have the hair though.
Yeah, they could put a wig on him, and if they they got to put a wig on him, and they got to make the wig look absolutely ridiculous too. They got to make it look as unnatural as possible.
Oh my lord!
See, that'd be good.
Maybe Kevin Nash, like how he did the Russian in The Punisher. There's Duke Nukem.
Zero dialogue.
Yeah, exactly. Just don't talk, buddy. Just go out there and shoot things. Okay. All right.
I'm not having luck finding this. I don't
know. I think that picture is pretty long.
That's okay. We can get information on it later and then not tell the chat when we find out.
Oh, yeah. Once again, there you go, everybody. Did you just call me old? Nobody calls me old. Grabs the guy by his genitals and uses it to throw him out of the window.
Lithograph makes a good point. They'll just cast Carl Urban. He's in everything. So there you go. Yeah, that would work.
You know what? They need to do Dread 2.
Do that first.
Yes. I'm the dog.
But hey, you know what? Later on, if we do find out, we could put it in the chat and when we have the actual episode and the YouTube video, we can put it in the comments.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely.
Find it out.
You know what? Here it is. Here it is, everyone in the chat. If you find it, you could post it and you get an official Codex no prize.
There you go.
The official no prize for you. But it won't be as bad as getting thrown out the window like that. We promise we won't do that to you.
We won't grab you by the genitals.
But you know what? If you get it, it might get us so happy that we might just scream super loud, which brings us to the F list.
Dan, your laugh couldn't have been timed better.
The F list today is Ruckus.
He is causing such a one today, too. So I'm going to show this one to start it off.
There we go. There's Ruckus screaming. The heck with it. I'll use them all. There we go. Ruckus with his mouth really wide open.
Yeah.
And we see, we can see he's screaming. There's a newer image of him. We see he has long pink hair.
And
there is
animated
series. He's got that coat on with some purple and yellow. There he is in the comics. Ruckus.
See, he even got his name next to him. So
yeah, and there he is, Ruckus with Ramrod when they were about to rob a store.
Car Ramrod.
Say Car Ramrod,
buddy.
Oh, I forgot.
And there he is screaming again.
And then this one. That's my favorite picture.
That looks like something out of Ghostbusters.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. So, Tim, because I know when I put this in the chat, Dan and Sal were going on a bit of a conversation. Like, Ruckus gets you talking. He was causing a ruckus. I was like, wait, let Tim guess his origin. So, Tim, now it's your time. What do you think is the origin of Ruckus?
Okay. So Ruckus, also known as Randall Fluckus, was a spoiled child back in the day. He always threw but just minor tantrums and fits because he never got his way. And then he grew up to go to an Ivy League school known as Barvard. And became even more self-centered and egotistical, and his tantrums got greater and greater and bigger. And then one day, when his advances toward a newspaper dispensary were spurned, he threw such a fit that lightning struck at the exact same time that he touched the metal of a prophylactic that he gained superpowers and turned into Ruckus. Just Randall, and took off the FL from Fluckus and called himself Ruckus. And now that's what he does. He just causes a ruckus all day long. And yeah, he's just never satisfied.
Always screaming his head off, causing a ruckus. Okay, Tim, I'll let you know what's going on.
I'm probably way the hell off, so.
They don't give too much about his actual past, so you never know. But his name is Clement Wilson.
I was close.
And hey, he is part of the
You weren't.
Nasty Boys.
You weren't close at all.
Just a little bit.
Hey, Ruckus is part of the Nasty Boys, hired by Mr. Sinister. And they were hired. There we go. There is with Ramrod. And there was when they were robbing a store. And now
why don't you give us the money and then we'll give you some back?
Yeah, that's exactly what he says.
Like, I mean, he looks like he stepped out of a Prince music video.
That is very true.
Oh yeah.
I mean, he kind of looks. It's it's Machine Gun Kelly. He retired from being an X-Men villain, decided to make terrible music.
Oh my god.
Hey, well, there you go. Like I say, he's always screaming, right? So he uses that mouth, but that's part of his power because he has acoustic kinesis, which is the ability to absorb the sound around him and send it back with concussive force through his vocal cords. So he's also been seen on X-Men the Animated Series. That's where I first originally saw him. So Ruckus is probably the first F-lister I've ever seen.
So his name, his supervillain name, has absolutely zero to do with his powers.
Yeah, I guess you can say he causes a ruckus because
that's why he's so mad.
Yeah, maybe
he's got the scream.
He's causing a ruckus.
In the comics, he was hired by Mr. Sinister with the Nasty Boys. In the X-Men animated series, also with with the Nasty Boys, hired by Mr. Sinister. The series hired to take on the X-Men, and he uses like Jean and Scott they were on a boat, and then he uses the sound of the waves, and he magnifies that, and that's what he uses to make himself scream super loud. And then in the comics, he would use hey, look at that.
Hey, that's how he got his powers. He got
grabbed and screamed super loud. He sometimes in the comics he would use things like fireworks, and then he would magnify that. Him out in the first fight with X Factor, it was Polaris. I know I say Polaris, but others say Polaris. They took him out. He was created by Peter David and Larry Spellman. His first appearance was in X Factor 75 in December of 1991. So pretty much the new team. Yeah, but
right into a couple issues in. Yeah,
it was one of their first big issues. It was a longer issue too that had the Nasty Boys, with Gorgeous George and Ramrod and all of them. And one thing that they have not put in there, which I believe, so he was taken out. I'll get into what I was going to see later, but yes, he was taken out. Beaten by X Factor, later on beaten by X Factor again, later on hired by Mystique, and then he was hired to assassinate Senator Kelly. Then the X-Men showed up, surprise, surprise, the X-Men defeated him. But Ruckus became ashamed of his past and he wanted to change. So he
became calmed down.
So some might say that he eventually came to the Institute of Biosocial Studies, who had developed a new mutant cure, X-Size, and after the Phoenix Dispersion and the New Mutant Bloom, Ruckus took the cure and it brought him back to a childlike state. So he wasn't able to use his powers. He was like a kid,
Wow.
but eventually he got back to his bad ways and was, a dirty thief again. Eventually stopped. He was put in prison.
Dirty thief.
He's a dirty, nasty thief. Ruckus and his fellow nasty boys were killed when the upstarts resurfaced, using the nasty boys as bait to lure out the X-Men. But he later
Wow.
came back because of the Krakoa era. He was brought back to life. And there
Okay.
you go. Now he's still alive. So there's
Okay.
still more Ruckus. But one thing about Ruckus is I think the comics, they didn't actually put it in there, but I believe that Ruckus was meant to be a gay character with Ramrod, because they're shown together. Even at one part, one of the X Factor issues, Mr. Sinister, he's introducing everyone. He's like, "This is Gorgeous George. This is
Mhm.
Hairbag or Fleabag, whatever his name was." And then he
Bareback.
says Ruckus, and then once he goes to Ramrod, he doesn't say just like Ramrod. He's like, "Oh, Ruckus' close comrade Ramrod." And then too, with the long pink hair, he just
Mhm.
screams. I was like, maybe they didn't just want to say it, but that's what makes me.
So it was heavily implied, but never.
Yes,
Yeah.
heavily implied. Yeah, heavily implied. And then Ramrod was the one nasty boy who wasn't in the animated series. So
There you
there we go. Ruckus with his long pink hair, screaming, causing a ruckus. Do you guys think he gets out of the F list, or does he stay there?
He might be able to make it up one level, but I don't think he'll be anything more than that, and that'll always make him angry. Therefore, his namesake.
I think he could climb out of the F list. I mean, he's got a legitimate, useful power set. He's in the X-Men universe. He's worked for Mr. Sinister. The outfit and the hair is not a great look. The fact that he was on a team called the Nasty Boys is, perhaps they should have workshopped that team name a little bit more.
Yeah.
But, the right writer comes along and
Maybe they were big wrestling fans.
well, you said that they never really delve into his origin either, too. So, someone comes along and decides to flesh the character out.
Yeah.
Who knows? I think he could get out of the F list. It was funny. They were such new characters when they put them on the animated series that they only put them on there because the Marauders were like, the main Sinister henchmen were like a little too hardcore.
Yeah.
Like you couldn't take like Harpoon and put him on a kids animated series. Be like,
Yeah,
oh yeah,
Stab
this is the episode
Archangel,
where I
yeah.
stab Angel in the wings and get him to lose his wings. Like,
Let's just use the Nasty Boys instead. They're
exactly.
quieter villains.
They were brand new. They weren't as hardcore as the Marauders. They had action figures, which is disappointing. Sonny probably destroyed them at some point in his childhood.
Well, I don't have them anymore.
Oh my god!
I'm not saying I had them before, but
wow.
But Ruckus might have gotten a haircut. He might have lost that pink hair if I had.
There you go.
Yeah. So for me, you know what? I think like Dan, like you were saying, I think possibly could. But for me, like I said, he's the first F-lister I know, so I just always want to keep Ruckus. His long pink hair and his screaming power. I always want to keep him on the F list. His nasty self could stand the F list for me.
Marvel needs. Keith says Marvel needs all the vocal characters to fight each other so we can see Black Bolt win.
I think of it like this. Since he does have the pedigree of being, a Sinister henchman, and he does have somewhat of a legitimate power set, and nobody's done anything with the origin, you could have a writer come on and decide like, hey, I'm going to tell his origin to do this or that, but I mean, why bother?
Right. There's no point.
Unless maybe he does. Maybe like
Yeah.
he said in the comment, maybe he fights Black Bolt and Black Bolt obliterates him. But one thing I did forget, I remember reading in the comic, is he, the Nasty Boys, he was kind of in charge of the others, but Mr. Sinister was obviously the leader. And one time he gave some lip to Mr. Sinister.
Ooh.
And Mr. Sinister backhanded him right into Gorgeous George. Gorgeous George, if you don't know, he's like the very gooey character. He can make himself stretch. But yeah, Mr. Sinister backhanded.
Let him know.
Ruckus, just to let him know, don't ever give me attitude. And he was down for the count.
Again, they really should have workshopped that team name, the Nasty Boys, a little bit more. Maybe they came up with it. Maybe they just gone to see Janet Jackson concert or something. I don't know. But
Hey,
I'm
what's
going
the
to stick
time?
with them being wrestling fans. That's what I'm sticking with.
Yeah, so there we go.
All right.
Ruckus and the F list. And we're talking about Ruckus, we're talking about Mr. Sinister, but maybe we won't talk about something sinister, but maybe something evil.
Ooh.
And as you can see from my name, it says not evil, Sonny. So that means I'm not evil. So let's get on to our review, ladies and gentlemen, and everybody watching, everybody from around the whole galaxy. We at the Codex Podcast are set to review Evil Ernie versus the superheroes. As usual, Tim will start us off with the
All right.
credits.
Now, I have to ask before we get started, are we just reviewing issue 1 or issues 1 and 2?
just issue one because
Because I read them both.
issue one was supposed to be. It even says it on the cover.
Yeah.
Was issue 1 of 1. The second issue came out like 10 years later.
It was just as good though. But okay, so issue 1, Evil Ernie versus the Superheroes. This is Chaos Comics, ladies and gentlemen. Pure 90s goodness. Written by Brian Pulido, pencils by Justiniano, inks by Jimmy Palmiotti, which Dan, you, and Gary did an interview with, and you can check it out right here on the Codex Station. Colors by Jack Gray, computer color assistance by Eric Weiss, and letters by Richard Starking and Comic Craft.
Okay, I will give us a bit of a run through of this evil story. And this is a story that has been approved by the Chaos Code Authority,
Ooh.
as they put on there. So we start off with Evil Ernie, Ernest Fairchild, but more like Evil Ernie. We immediately get into it. He is destroying these superheroes, and he's starting off by ripping out some intestines of American Man. But, so he's taking them out, and then there's some more villains. Well, I shouldn't say villains, more superheroes, like one I definitely want to mention, and he is Muddy Molecule, who's this little 6-inch guy. Never fear, the mighty molecule is near. Though I stand barely 6 inches tall, I possess the strength of 24 grown men, thanks to an experimental wonder drug I developed in my secret laboratory. And then he gets squashed by
American
an American man's head. But Mighty Molecule takes it off, and he says nothing will stop him. And then just a quick hammer fist from Evil Ernie kills him. So Evil Ernie is killing all these people in that he's on his way to stop the wedding between Ultimate Man and Perfect Woman. In case you can't tell by now, he's taking on parodies of superhero characters.
Yeah.
Just like after the Mighty Molecule, who is it? It is the Captain Spider. It is Spider Captain.
Yeah.
Who is like Spider-Man. And one thing I loved was that, so as Evil Ernie's taking him on, Spider Captain even mentions, he's like, I gotta wrap this up quickly. And this is in the time of the 90s. So
Oh no, my
during the
braces.
Clone Saga. Yeah. He's thinking, oh, Spider Captain's like, oh, this is also going on as I'm dealing with my raging hormones, and then the clones of me. Who's the real Spider Captain? And he's like, oh, these licensing deals. And he just say, and boy, they've come with some lame ideas. Boy, they've come up with some lame ideas lately. And then, like you said, Tim, his spider saliva gets caught in his braces. So, like I said, so Evil Ernie's on his way to stop this wedding. And then we see Dr. Leonard Price, and he is visited by not the Watcher, but the Voyeur.
My favorite cosmic character. Dan, you put that on comic character of the day. That's my favorite cosmic character right there. The Voyeur.
Voyeur.
The
Basically,
voluptuous Voyeur.
Yes, and he even says it in there. I was visited by the voluptuous Voyeur. So that's what, and then it is Dr. Leonard Price. He's telling the story. It goes to the bit of the past of Evil Ernie.
Yeah,
Nice,
lithograph.
glad to see.
Yeah, one of his favorite characters.
Yeah, and then we go to a bit of the past. We see that Evil Ernie, as a child, he was abused. He was beaten. We see quite a bit. It gets pretty graphic. We see him bruised. We see him smacked and beaten because he doesn't want to dress like a superhero. He doesn't want to go to the superhero event. And as he's there, all the superheroes, they look at him and they can even tell. They even, they're thinking like, oh, you could tell the poor boy's abused, but his parents
Mhm.
give so much money to us, so they don't do anything. And this is why Evil Ernie partly hates superheroes, because
Yeah.
you're supposed to be superheroes, yet they, are letting me, as a boy, be abused. And then eventually he was experimented on, and that's when Dr. Price came into this, and is experimenting on Evil Ernie. But that's when he eventually met Lady Death, and that's when
Mhm.
she hates
Let's make
superheroes.
a deal.
Yeah, he hates superheroes. Yeah, let's make a deal. And eventually, it was mentioned that Evil Ernie killed his parents and ended up in the mental asylum. And then he broke out. But when he broke out, he had a nurse that was nice to him, and or excuse me, before he broke out, he was
Mhm.
experimented on by a perfect woman,
Mhm.
and of course it didn't work. They thought, oh, he's dead, and even perfect woman's like, oh, I gotta go, and then things were broken up
Better luck
about it.
next time.
Yeah,
Oh,
Oopsies.
don't want to be late to my wedding.
yeah,
Yeah.
gonna be late
Oh
to my
wow.
wedding. So then a nice nurse, what was her name? Nurse G. She gave him. She said, "Here's your the outfit you wanted. I'll put it all on you. Your smiley pin." And that's when Evil Ernie gets up, and
Yeah.
then he's gonna get out. He's gonna kill, but he didn't want to hurt her because Nurse G was nice to him. And then his smiley pin, talks to him,
Yeah.
and then he's
Go get
killing
him,
even too.
boss.
As he passes by, you see some hands, and it looks almost like the Joker's hand. It looks like the Riddler's hand. A lot of little cameo things like that in there. And then it gets to where he's going off to stop the wedding, to destroy the wedding, to bring Megadeth to the wedding of Ultimate Man and Perfect Woman. And on his way there, Rick Fury, you know, kind of like Nick Fury. Nick
Yeah.
Fury is, one of the guys in charge of the security to keep a hold on everything. Even when he's going there to stop it. But that's when he comes across a character kind of like Wolverine, who's a part of the G-Men. Who was
Yeah.
one of my favorite part was their parody of Xavier. In the wheelchair, his green head, and she's like, we can understand you, and like you could be like a superhero like us. So that's it for Evil Ernie. And he's off to kill more, he's off to destroy more, like I said, bring more death and destruction. And at this time, the voyeur gives Dr. Price an object, an item, says this is what you could use to kill Evil Ernie. And the two eventually do come across each other, and Evil Ernie does eventually get to Ultimate Man and Perfect Woman.
Mhm.
And that's where I will stop my run through for right now. If you want to know more, feel free to check out Evil Ernie versus the superheroes. For me, this was my first time checking out an Evil Ernie story. I knew of Evil Ernie. I knew more of like, okay, here's what he looks like. Evil Ernie is where Lady Death came from. So I was
Mhm.
interested. Like, okay, one day I'll check out a comic. And Dan, you picked this one out, and I was like, good, perfect. Now I get to finally check out Evil Ernie. I thought it was really fun. I think the artwork goes well with Evil Ernie. I think the story was fun. I get the humor of it because we all love superhero stuff, and we we can get the humor, we can get the jokes, we can laugh at characters
Yeah.
like like I said, I love the X-Men. We love Superman, Wonder Woman, and it's
Yeah.
fun to see them be like made
Yeah.
fun of, right? We know to laugh at them. And Evil Ernie's just chaos and destruction, and he's a very like heavy metal like. And and Lady Death, she's a great character. I mean, she's become a lot bigger than Evil Ernie, but I still like her part in there. And like I say, after this, I'm a really big fan of Evil Ernie, and I want to check out more of Evil Ernie. And this did give, like I said, this gave a bit of an origin to him too. So for me, I thought it was a great
Mhm.
starting off point, and I want to check out more Evil Ernie. It was a fun read. It was action packed. It was violent. It was funny. I had a great time reading it, and I want to check out more of Evil Ernie. And I, not evil Sonny Kruger, give Evil Ernie versus the superheroes 10 out of 10.
Really?
I do. I'm an Evil Ernie
Wow.
fan now, and I can't wait to check out more.
Okay.
So, Tim the Terrible, what did you think of this
So
chaotic story?
let me do this first. So let's take it for what it is. It is a parody comic. It doesn't try to be anything more than that, and that's what I enjoy about it so much. The artwork by Giustiano is great. Jimmy Palmiotti's inks are wonderful. The colors there and the color assists are great. The lettering is fantastic. This isn't a book so much about the writing as it is about the rest of the creative team, and it showcases their ability to work, and they work well together. I love the parodies of the characters. American Man, Perfect Woman, that's great. She's doing the 2099 whatever techno virus or whatever it is.
Yep.
Like, there's so many Easter eggs in this story to characters across the spectrum. And if you read issue 2, which Dan, hopefully you choose that again later this year for us to review, because I'd love to read that one again. It's great. There's all kinds of stuff, like the scene you were talking about, Sonny, where all the hands are sticking out. That is a direct spoof from Spawn issue 7, I think, or maybe
one of the early,
issue
very
9.
early issues.
Yeah, something like that, where the
There's the one
hero's
on-
hands.
It was the one, I think, that Neil Gaiman wrote, or Alan Moore, one of them.
Then it was issue 9, first appearance of Angela.
Yeah.
But either way, it's a direct spoof off of that, and where McFarlane did this whole splash page that was just this one little corner box. Captain Spider, I thought was great.
Clones of him.
It was the one with Cerebus that was in it.
Okay, then yeah, color issue 8, then I think, or issue 10. Either way, I loved how they were poking fun at these storylines that when we look back at it now, we know they were terrible storylines, but they're poking fun at them in the middle of this issue, and it's great. Evil Ernie is indestructible. All these spoof characters are getting destroyed in the worst way, and it's awesome to look at. It was just a lot of fun to read. Now, writing for me gets a 5 out of 10. That's middle of the road. This book didn't try to be anything more than what it was, and that I thought was just fine with me. It doesn't need to be any worse. It doesn't need to be any less. It does exactly what it's supposed to do. It's a parody book. The artwork and the rest of the interiors is what really shined for me. The letters were great. The coloring was fantastic. The inks were wonderful, and the pencils themselves were just as good. That gets us very well-earned and well-deserved 8 out of 10 for me. So overall, the book gets a 6.5 out of 10. Not a bad grade. It's not an Eisner Award, but it doesn't try to be. Like I said, it is exactly what it's supposed to be: a spoof comic, parody comic, and it's a lot of fun to read.
Dan, the man who picked it out.
Wow, yeah, I disagree about the writing, because I thought the writing was the strong point, because it did such a good job of parodying all the stuff. When the molecule is running and he's like, I got my powers and this and that, then he throws the head on me. He's like, why are you just telling me
all the outer monologue?
Yeah, and then when the Spider-Man parody, when he's having the thought bubble, like, I got my own stuff to deal with. I got this. Yeah. I'm like, that sounds exactly like the way Spider-Man was written back at the time. Exactly like the way, where his thought bubble, he'd be having this like long thought bubble while he's fighting. It would be like, yes, I got this going on, this, and and all that, and and the whole thing with Batman, the Batman parody, just like lurking in the background, like, this kid's going to be a problem if we don't do something. And I thought it was great. The writing was great because, like you said, it's not an Eisner Award when it's just meant to be a fun parody. Yeah. But that's why it was great, because it did such a good job at pointing out all of these these kind of at times silly things about comic writing, and dissecting them and taking them apart, through Ernie just saying, like, why are you telling me you're going through that? Like, that's dumb. Like, why are you doing this? Or when Price had was like narrating it in the narration through it, he kept saying, he's like, wait, how do I know this? I wasn't there. And I'm like, yes, like, just like in comics, they have this character narrating, and you're like, how do you know this? You weren't there for this. Like, that's why I liked it, because it did such a good job of pulling it apart and making fun of it all. And then, the violence, just over the top violence. Yeah. Which is
there's
funny.
There's an arm ripped off. The Punisher guy. Yeah.
Yeah, like, you knew exactly who the characters were that were being parodied.
Oh yeah.
and it was a lot of fun. The original artist for Chaos Comics was this guy Stephen Hughes, who's did all the early stuff for Evil Ernie, for Lady Death. His artwork was gorgeous. Unfortunately, he died young, much too young. And then this artist Justiano ended up coming in, and he did a lot of stuff for he did a lot of stuff in the 90s, and he did a lot of stuff for Chaos Comics then too. And the artwork was good. It wasn't what Stephen Hughes did, but it was still really good, and
it fit the book. It
did.
It was perfect for what Evil Ernie needed.
Oh yeah, it was fun, and it's gory, it's over the top, ridiculous. They did change Evil Ernie's origin a little bit to fit in with this comic, which is not in continuity. If you've read Evil Ernie, like it hit, it was the basic story beats. It just kind of threw the whole superhero thing in with it, so that it would fight that. The only gripe I had with the book was I felt like it kind of took a little too long with the origin of getting him there before he starts the massacre. Like, just throw something together real quick in the first page or two, and then let's have an extended massacre for all of it. Because some of the characters he did dispatch very quickly. It's like, they're there, and the next panel, yep, his head's split in two, and we're on to the next one. Like, I would have, if that doesn't make me sound like a total psychopath, like I would have liked to have
more
seen,
violence.
Yes, I would have liked to have seen it some of these fights stretch out more than a panel or two, or like having ripped one guy's off and beat another guy to death with him or something.
The book was gratuitous in every way you could think of, from violence to sexualization and all of that stuff. It's great. It's a great book.
Like maybe you would have grabbed someone from the genitals and threw him out the window.
Even though it's out of continuity, the way the book ends, does show that, not to give it away, even though it came out, 30 years ago.
Yeah. I think we're okay with spoilers.
It did find a way that when it ended, it showed, how it's not in continuity, but it, you can,
how it ties back in.
But it ties back into it.
Yeah.
With the character of Price. But overall, like, I'd rate it a 9 out of a 10. Okay. I'd only give it a little ding just because, like I said, I felt like it spent too long retelling his origin and tying it into, the stuff with the superheroes before it got to all that, which, if you're not an Evil Ernie fan, you're not going to pick up the book. If you are an Evil Ernie fan, you already know what his origin is. So, unless it's, a thing like this, you already know his origin. You could just jump right into it. Sonny, if you want to read more, I suggest his back issues are very expensive.
I was looking for them. Yeah.
I suggest getting the collected volumes. So there's the first one.
Yeah.
He didn't have an ongoing series. They were all a series of miniseries. Same thing with Lady Death and all the Chaos stuff. So the first one was Youth Gone Wild, first appearance of Evil Ernie, first appearance of Lady Death, all the main characters. Then the sequel to it was The Resurrection.
Those are a little more serious in tone, too. They're not as slapstick gore.
They're not as slapstick, but they are 100% as violent.
Yeah.
As violent as,
There we go, yeah.
And it does have that, like, over-the-top, ridiculous, kind of humor to it. You can see the way Lady Death was there. But, and then this was the third one in the series, Revenge. So you could pick these up, I don't know if they're still in print. Since Chaos Comics went out of business for a long time, and then he sold the properties off, and I want to say
you need to be on the hunt for.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Big Marv says he looks like a skinny Lobo.
I would highly recommend these.
Same.
The first series was black and white, and it went color after that. But I like Evil Ernie enough that I wrote a song about him that was on my first album. So.
Big Marv, it's the same stylized violence and humor. If you like Lobo, Evil Ernie is right in that same wheelhouse. So yeah.
It's like if George Romero made a Lobo movie.
With the same budget, yes.
Yeah.
Well, everyone, there we go. Tim gives Evil Ernie versus Superheroes 6.5 out of 10. Dan, you give it 9 out of 10, right?
Mhm.
And I, for my first Evil Ernie comic, gave it a 10 out of 10.
I'm the
That's it.
outlier this week.
I will be on
And
the
I
hunt
thought,
for more
as
Evil
much as
Ernie.
you're into Lady Death, I thought you would have rated this higher.
She was in 3 panels of this.
That's why that's why I had the rating
I-
it did. Tim
I-
wanted more Lady Death.
I want to point out though that the 6.5 is not necessarily a bad rating. So like 5 is dead middle of the road. The book is neither terrible, it is or is it a masterpiece. But a 6.5, we're already a point and a half toward the direction of how good it is. It's a good book. I like it. I think it's fun. It's something that I'll pick up and read again. But Dan, where you saw that the writing was way better than what I did. I get the parodies.
I thought it did a great job parodying all that.
Oh, it
all
did.
that stuff.
It did, but it wasn't anything more than that to me. Like there's no depth, there's no nothing, and in a book like this, you don't need that. It's not necessary. But I think middle of the road, right in the center for writing, I thought that was perfect.
So basically, Tim would have given it 9.5, but not enough Lady Death brings it down 3 points.
If we would have seen 1 or 2 more double page spreads, this would have got a 10 out of 10. But alas, there was.
There you go. Well, maybe we'll revisit Evil Ernie another time, and we'll check out Lady Death another time too.
Lithograph says, as big an Ernie fan as he is, he'd also go around a 6 out of 10, but he grades hard. To me, 9s and 10s are reserved for mind-blowing books. That's
Same
fair.
here. Same
Well,
here.
I'd have to. I
pretty tough.
gave it a 9 out of 10 based on what the book is. Like, I wouldn't compare it to Kingdom Come or
Right.
Watchmen. I wouldn't compare it to something like that. Like, I have to grade it based on the genre and the style of thing it is. Like, I wouldn't, as much as I love, I don't know, Super Troopers as a movie, I might give that like a super high grade, but I also wouldn't, grade it in the same way I would grade a movie, along the lines of like Citizen Kane.
Now, the
Yeah.
book, though, Lithograph, where you say you reserve 9s and 10s for mind-blowing books, this book was mind-blowing. Like, minds were getting blown every other panel. So,
Like,
But-
if I was grading this book on a scale of like, all-time great comic stories, then no, I wouldn't grade it a 9 out of a 10. But grading it for what it is, like, here's a fun, gory, violent book that you can just sit down and kind of have a chuckle with, then I'll grade it high.
But see, that's the perfect thing about what we do here. We don't always have the same grades on things, and I enjoy it when our grades differ.
Like, you guys loved that Daredevil book, and I just was like,
And Sonny, you and I loved Exo Manowar, and Jamie thought that was the worst thing he'd ever read in his life.
Well, another one that got us was The Punisher, Circle of Blood.
Yeah.
But now let me say that we can put Evil Ernie to rest for now.
There you go.
I can say that next week we will be reviewing my pick of The Punisher, the Jigsaw Puzzle.
I'm excited for that.
So we will see. And it's set to be me, Tim, and Jamie, but we'll see what happens. So it's set to be the original 3. And now, boys, it's been quite an episode. It's been a bit of a ruckus. There was a bit of a ruckus with Ruckus. And, there was a lot of damage. There was a lot of F-listers, because Evil Ernie was full of those F-lister purity characters.
Some of those costumes, for being throwaway parody costumes, some of them actually look pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah. But they're still F-listers. And they still got killed
They're all
viciously by Evil Ernie.
Here's the new comic. Evil Ernie versus the F-list.
That would be a good one.
Oh my God.
Get to work writing it, Sonny.
All right. Well, there you go. Everybody, have a good night.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, don't forget to find us on all the socials. All you got to do is type in at the Codex Station. That is where we will be, your favorite social media platforms, and where we're live streaming right now. Once again, excuse me, I've got all the socials. I'm trying to give them to you. All you got to do is hit the like, share, subscribe, and follow, so that way you don't miss more content like this all the time, every time at the Codex Station. Sonny, after you get out of bed in the morning, what's the first shirt you want to put on?
Probably a Codex shirt. You know,
Where would you get that? I have no idea.
we can get some merch, meet the team, and you can get more things at thecodexstation.com.
There you go, ladies and gentlemen. Thecodexstation.com for all your Codex needs. Dan, real quick, let everybody know where they can find you when you're not here doing Codex stuff.
You can find me panhandling on the side of the street, begging for
I've seen
money,
it.
begging for coins to buy more comics with.
Mhm.
You can also find me on Instagram at Dan Kelly Art. You've all heard the spiel. Go give me a follow, buy some art, or don't, whatever. Live your life, and
1K for DK.
yeah,
1K
for
for
DK.
DK.
My followers, it's gotten kind of stagnant. I keep hovering right around the 8:30, like 8:30, and then I'll get to 8:33, and then like to 8:30, and so I've been hovering around 8:30s for a long time. So
Peaks and valleys, then a little plateau, then peaks and valleys.
yeah, but go find me on there. I post art and stuff on there a few times a week. So I just finished. I just posted the last of the pencils I did for the sketch covers I did for all these guys for Christmas. So I started posting inks on some of them. I got to post the inks for all of them, and then post the actual sketch covers because I erase a lot when I draw, so that's not good for the material, the paper that they use on sketch covers. So I draw everything on Bristol board first, and then redraw it once it's finished, and I'm happy with it, and then redraw it on the sketch cover.
There you go.
I will post all that, which is also why all the sketch covers that you guys have, I also have the artwork on Bristol board.
Nice.
Nice.
Well, gentlemen, Big Marv says another great show, fellas. This is always the main event. We agree.
Thank you
Good
very much.
sir. And let's not forget, ladies and gentlemen, when Jamie's not here or when he is here, he always says, be kind to each other. You never know what somebody's going through. Make sure that you are the reason somebody smiles today. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, my name is Tim the Terrible. This beautiful man over here is not Evil Sunny. And down below is Dan the Man. Dan the Kelly Art. This is the Codex Station, the Codex Podcast. I have no more words left to give, and they're all jumbled, but we love you. We'll see you next time.
Gaping holes.
Thanks. All right, now we can go. Okay, bye.
Okay, bye.